we want to see. And wait, what's he doing? No, no, you fool! I'm upset. I'm actually upset. He's just gonna go Sombra, where fine, pick the good, reliable pick.
Well, Luma has Symmetra. You know, that's his hero, his pocket pick. But every player in Contender seems to have Torbjorn as their go-to pick when it comes to debating the casters. Thank you, Contenders players.
We're all Torb mains, actually. That's how it works. All Contenders players play Torb.
He's Swedish, after all, so...
Join us
I love
in tradition. Well, take a look here at the offense. We are going to be seeing a McCree-powered offense once more.
Yes, and this time you're not facing the Orisa composition, so a lot less shields to deal with. They're going to face this defense coming out of Skyfoxes with the Reinhardt triple tank composition, but with the Sombra. So if you can get the Sombra, catch the Sombra with a flashbang, but that's not going to happen this fight. Huge anti-nade coming out from Skyfoxes, and that's just going to push the second win back.
Saucy, though, getting healed up just in the nick of time. He was down to 6 HP there, but luckily for second win, they don't suffer an early pickoff. Gonna see Akawa go a little bit deeper, apply a little bit of pressure, and now second win, gonna rotate up. Gonna look to split and bisect the Skyfoxes here. It doesn't quite work out, and Saucy just unable to land the shots, gets focused down by Zombs on D.Va, but Zombs gonna give up his mech, so it's not entirely clean for the defense.
And it is a difficult comp to run McCree against. They're just going to swap a goat CB. I can't believe it. They had a chance to make the McCree work, but they're swapping goats. More tanks. I love it.
We need a counter here for every time a team does initial fight that's not goats, and then they swap goats. But early charge by Moopy just plows over Akawa. Snow gives him the nano boost and a little bit of healing to boot from the back, and that's going to be aggressive holding here from the Skyfoxes.
And that's the bad thing about swapping mid-game, right? You've already given this Skyfoxes team a lot of chance to build ultimates. They use the nano boost and the Earth Shatter there. They're going to have the EMP for the next fight as well. And second wind, they have a Transcendence to counter the EMP, but they're going to be caught right outside the gate.
King going on in, drops the EMP. Everyone's going to get hacked. He has their credit card info and more.
But the anti-nade, the biotic grenade.
Ooh. It's not too bad. They're able to deal with Moopy. It's not quite the opening fight that Skyfoxes entirely wanted. Now they're going to have to hold back without Orion for a while. What does that mean?
It means that you're going to have a lot more of a good time poking away at this team. They don't want to take the step up yet. Here comes Akawa though, and now this is their chance to really engage. They're going to have the Graviton up soon on Saucy, and this could be their chance to push up and get some space.
He's just going to drop the grab. The Reinhardt is back in fray. Self-destruct to the back. Oh, Reinhardt on the other side, and nowhere to go. This Graviton can lead to an easy 3 pickoffs, and the Skyfoxes able to buy time for Moopy to get back in.
So we have to talk about the flex support role here for a bit as well. Snow is running that Ana, and it's done a lot of work so far, especially with that Pylyshyn grenade. But generally, Goats teams, they like to prefer the Zenyatta instead, because you can play with the Discord Orb, get the Zarya barriers out to negate it, and then you can just deal so much more damage. But so far, second wind, they haven't really been given the time before Skyfoxes use their ultimate, so they need to buy more time in these fights.
See just what they do to get that time. They're going to open up here with the early Graviton, countered by an Earth Shatter. Moopy going to drop the hammer. Akawa out of the fight immediately. Moopy charges for the fences, finds Desire, and already just 3 easy pickups for the Skyfoxes. Now, for the offense, we're banking on that grab there, reinforce, and it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone, and now you have to rely on double support element, which is good. You almost have an Earth Shatter as well. But again, I don't think they're playing this composition correctly. They need to buy some more time. They walked up to the point uncontested there, and Skyfoxes could just explode onto them with the Ana and with the Graviton. So they need to poke at this here. Smoop is going to charge backwards. This is going to give them second wind a great opportunity.
Shatter from Akawa gets nothing. Retzi just looks at it, doesn't even flinch. Holding on to a grab now, holding the Skyfox's destiny in his hands, drops a grab, picks up 3. Haku can immediately react here at the Transcendence. Self-destruct from Zomzo, picks up 2, and the Skyfoxes unbleeding, unbroken. 30 seconds left remaining here in the map.
Yeah, and you get tons of value. I mean, Transcendence doesn't block the self-destruct, and that just means free kills for the D.Va on Zombs. Great stuff there. And you have to give some credit for Skyfoxes. They're playing around the corner so well, just exploding onto this second win team. Second win is not getting a ton of value from the Transcendence or the Discord Orb, and now here they go again.
King drops EMP in the back, no response. But the sound barrier comes in, it's able to keep people reasonably healthy, but it's not good enough. They're still not able to make use of the barrier in time, even though it was a good play by Karkar. Skyfox is working with a big advantage here, and it's just mop-up time now for the Skyfoxes. Too many players up, too many players down for the offense, and this is going to get stopped right here as the Skyfoxes put on one heck of a show here in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's a fantastic call, you have to say. They're just going to clean up these kills, and it came down to that flex support role, I have to say. I think that Zenyatta generally is the better pick if you are playing GOATs. As I said, the Discord Orb is so helpful, the Transcendence, huge support ultimate that is very powerful against most of the GOATs ultimates when it comes to the Earth Shatter, the Graviton Surge, etc. But on this map in particular, the way Skyfoxes played around the corners, they exploded with ultimates, with the Nano Boost, the Earth Shatter, the Diva Bombs, etc. They exploded so well, so Haka couldn't really get any value whatsoever from his Zenyatta, and therefore, despite, in my opinion, having the better variety, the better GOATs variety comp in many ways, they didn't get value from it, and Snow's Ana really paved the way for Skyfox's good hold, I think.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Snow's Ana there, because you take a look at it where obviously not all Anas are created equally, and even if there is a composition that you look on paper like this is superior, players playing at an individually high level can very much make the difference, and Snow was able to not only build nanos super quickly there, but he had very good bio nades where it seems like playing Ana in a lot of these cases is like a higher risk, higher reward scenario, right? Where if you throw a bio nade and you get nothing, the other team knows they can just dive in on you and ruin your day, but Snow was consistently getting good bio nades there, and in addition to the pressure being put on by the Sombra, it kind of let them dictate the course of the game.
Yeah, and it just shows proficiency in the GOATs comp overall, I think, because you have to set up those biotic grenades, right? Credit to Snow for hitting them, but it comes down to Moopy as well for creating a lot of space, essentially, getting a lot of aggression out to make space for Snow to go aggressive and hit those biotic grenades. So, great play overall by Skyfoxes, playing that Ghost composition and getting value from those biotic grenades.
Well, we got an old-timey favorite here. We got the Sombra Doomfist coming out here on the defense, and it's going to have to be flawless because they cannot give up anything if they just want to go for the draw. Second win, immediately going to be diving in. Risky, but Isire takes down Moopy immediately. The problem is, it's not without a casualty. Saucy is down, and the offense is going to recover a lot quicker here.
So I didn't see exactly, but I think actually they got a hack off onto Saucy, so Saucy wasn't able to translocate out of the fight. They get a pick, and now it's just down to Akawa and Isire to get a good dive in with the Doomfist, but instead second win is going to take that damage.
Skyfox is going straight to the cafe. King diving on in, finds Haku. Early pick off here for the Skyfoxes as they just dominate the cafe. They take the space they're needing. They're up a man. They get the DMAC, and this is looking like a quick take indeed. So far, this is just the Skyfoxes taking control of the game, and it's a well-executed dive that simply Second Wind was not prepared for. Hollywood is going to be going the way of the Foxes.
Yeah, absolutely. You take a lot of patience. A lot of patience was key there. You get the pick onto Saucy. You're in a 6 versus 5 man advantage. Second Wind can't really engage without their Sombra, and instead Skyfoxes, they sit back, they recognize that, and they just execute a good dive onto the cafe high ground, you have to say.
Well, the game here coming out by Zoms, and of course it's Zarya that makes this all happen, but you still got to lay down the boom. Zom says, you know what, I'll drop a self-destruct into that. Does it, gets the pickoffs he's looking for, and Skyfoxes, again, looking pretty calm, cool, and composed here. It's a good look for a team that honestly did struggle quite a bit in the last Contender season.
Yeah, they did, but this game, they certainly looked a lot better. A first point hold on Hollywood. Can't really complain about that. So, but as I said, even though you can talk about Second Wind, maybe not showing their best form, I think that Skyfoxes, the way they showed aggression and initiation, you saw that they really knew what they were doing. So I'm very hopeful for this Skyfoxes team moving forward, where they just didn't simply outplay their opponent. They did it in style, where they actually played very well overall.
I will ding them on one moment here where, again, don't forget, we also, we want to have fun on our end. It's not just about the players. It's about the pure carnage that we want to see. And, King, he could have really earned our hearts there at the Torbjorn, decided not to do it. So, you know what? Fine. You had got your dominant first point hold, but what about the people that want to see Torb get played? Well, you have disappointed them. But you know what? That's not really what the term is judged on. So it looks like we're going to be hanging the Dorado for the next map.
Yeah, and that's generally a lot of high ground, of course, especially on second point, but it's not a GOATS map, that's for sure. We saw that New York Excelsior tried to pull it off on third point, didn't go too well for them. But overall, on second point and on first point, it comes down a lot to snipers and Widowmakers. So this is going to be a question about who has the better hit scan, in my opinion, to start things off, depending on what compositions we see, of course.
Well, Retzi, he's one of the hit scan originals. If you think about it,
Yeah.
I would say Widow has usually been one of his stronger characters. It's not even that he's done tons of Widow per se. It's that you think about the hit scan family, the closest cousin to a Widowmaker as far as playstyle goes is McCree. And you think about Retzi back to the original setup of his in pro play, like what he was known for was being a very good player. That said, we still might not see it here. Teams have been favoring a lot of Sombras play.
They have been favoring a lot of Sombras, and with that comes Doomfist CP. So I won't say that this is the best Sombra Doomfist map, but if you want to make it work, you can probably make it work on any map you'd like. So I am expecting some McCree and Brigitte compositions. It is a composition that has worked out a lot. It's generally either you play Goats, or you play the dive with the Sombra, or you play this McCree Brigitte composition. And as we talked about the hit scan heroes, I could see some McCree play come into the order.
McCree, certainly a hero that people have been at least trying to put forward a little bit more often now. He did get recent change where McCree does suffer a little bit less from fall off. Do you think that would be driving the increase in McCree that we've been seeing?
Generally, not so much. I think it comes down mostly to the flashbang, because that's what's important, right? If you want to shut down an enemy dive with a Doomfist or a Genji or even a Sombra, the stuns are going to prevent them or counter them to do so. And so McCree with Brigitte just makes it so hard for the enemy team to dive on top of you. So going to be an anti-dive composition if so, but we're seeing dive from both teams instead with the Sombra and with the Genji.
It's that age-old adage, what's better than one stun? Two stuns, at least if you want to put your enemy on full tilt, especially if you're main tank where really everyone bops you around. But we do have the play in progress here. Saucy on the Sombra on top, already looking for King, who's orbed, and just a little bit of poking here from second wind. I'm curious to see just how aggressive they are. They are running the double dive tanks.
They are running the double dive tanks as well, and they have to execute a bit faster here as well. You see that this Skyfoxes team, they're playing with the Lucio on offense, so they have to play faster with the speed boost to get into the faces of the enemies, and they have done so successfully, I have to say this first word.
Well, I gotta say here, Retzi making the Sombra look absolutely deadly. Picks up 3 early pickups here, and even though it's been back and forth, get the Sombra v Sombra here, asleep! That is not a regulation tranquilizer dart, but it is gonna let Retzi take it. And trade-outs, they're just good for the offense here for Courtyard.
Oh, absolutely, but we have to give some credit for the defense as well. Second wind, they bought a lot of time. Taking a fight outside of the spawn is something we used to see way back, but not as much as of late. But they bought themselves some time, built some ultimates, and going into this next fight, they might actually get this EMP online.
Yeah, that's what Retzi was looking for there. He was just trying to get a little bit of support in. After he was going to pick off, and he wanted to get the EMP up this next fight. Now the EMP is online. Skyfoxes, Moopy's really low, so it's not the ideal scenario, but Retzi, oh, gets hacked first! Can't drop the EMP when you get hacked. Saucy completely ruins that setup there with an EMP of his own, and that's going to buy crucial time for the defense.
Oh, absolutely, but they're playing with this Zenyatta, and so they don't have the speed boost to really capitalize off that EMP. Instead, I think that Skyfoxes did a pretty good job of surviving in that fight. They only got 1 or 2 people killed in an EMP, and now they can set up with their own EMP for the next fight. So credit to Snow for keeping his team alive.
And the scary part here for the defense, your point, is that they have the EMP in reserve. They're going to open up with the bear. They know there's not going to be an EMP for it, but Felty gets taken down immediately. So we'll see how this works out. It's not quite the engaged Skyfox, but they're going to EMP and Blade. They still want a piece of this, and King, they don't get the Zen and the EMP, so the Transcendence is going to come out. It's going to ruin what he's looking for there. But they investing in more. Sobs finally going to be picking off 2. You invest a whole bunch of ults and you leave it to the Diva to at least get something.
Yes, and you recognize this is the last fight for the first pointers, so both teams investing a ton of ultimates. Still a bit of a brawl coming up here, but second wind, only 3 people remaining. I think they might go down this fight unless Sauce can get 4. He uses the EMP actually. The rest of second wind is coming back to win this fight.
Yeah, second win, they invest the EMP, they buy time, and there's no response here from Skyfoxes, but simply to back out and reinforce. The offense put everything on the line there. Now they're down to the final minute.
Yeah, and they barely have any ultimates remaining at all. They have to build up all of these for one final push, I like to think. They can't really go aggressive. It's going to be a bit risky. They have to just poke for now, I think. And so it's going to be second wind with the opportunity to aggress first.
Saucy going in deeper again with the hack on the Diva, looking for the D-Mech. Zombs in trouble, getting booped and bopped around. They're going to get the D-Mech, they do. Meanwhile, Moopy, he's really low. Can't really help them. Has to back out himself. He's in danger, gets taken down. The front line is gone. And this is truly going to be the final attempt for the Skyfoxes coming up.
Good thing is you have the Nano Blade up. Haku has the Transcendence, but that's not going to help if you want to slice down the low HP target. So this Nano Blade could pay dividends, as well as the EMP coming online for SC. We have to take a look at Haku for second wind. How much value is he going to get from this Transcendence? And can he buy time for his Sire and Karkar to use the Nano Blade of their own?
Well, King is going to use the Nano Blade right here, right now. Doesn't know where the supports are. The supports were on the other side, so his Nano Blade getting absolutely nothing done. Transcendence comes out late in the fight. Oh, King still picks up 2. The supports got a little bit aggro, but Haku going to fight back. Now, it's pretty back and forth, but the second win, they're able to do enough to hold the offense out. They're not able to get the Hammond back on in. And man, that was just great positioning from the supports to second win to not get bopped immediately.
Oh, absolutely. I was actually going to say that second wind initially wasn't getting a lot of value from their ultimates. They got an EMP out, only capitalized and killed 1 member of Skyfoxes, so couldn't get a lot of value. But then Haku on the Zenyatta just resurrected this team on the final push. He got great transcendences. Then you have to give some credit to Saucy as well. They were down to 3 men contesting the point. He uses the EMP, thinking that they can win the fight, and the members coming back from spawn manages to capitalize on that EMP and buy enough time for a second win to actually first point hold the Skyfoxes team. So very surprising turn of events, I have to say, on defense there, but second wind, great job to them.
I would say too, I mean, you take a look at how all that broke down, is that Saucy was simply doing an excellent job of matching Retzi point for point on the Sombra early on, where you think about it, Retzi was very close to landing a big EMP that probably would have resulted in Skyfoxes taking first, but Saucy got the EMP off a little bit earlier, resulted in Retzi falling, and that's where kind of the wheels fell off the wagon there for the offense of the Skyfoxes. Now, let's take a note of the situation. This is one where certainly it's something that's highly favored for second win, but we have seen first point holds get matched with first point holds before, and from the Skyfoxes, they're going to be betting heavily on this Widowmaker play of Retzi.
Yes, and you have to remember as well that Skyfoxes, they actually pushed to the end of point A, you have to say so. They can utilize the entire point. They don't have to worry that much about how many fights they're going to take. I think they're going to stand up close here, try to get some picks with Retzi's Widowmaker, of course, and then they can calm down, get another fight before the map comes down to it. So a lot of time here. You don't have to stress too much about making sure to win this initial fight.
Going to be a lot of pressure here on Retzi, where if he gets picked off even once, just the lack of pressure that the Skyfoxes have.
Yeah, but they're getting a lot of free push here for second win. Skyfoxes opt to not contest at all. They want to put up Retzi on the great high ground position, make sure he has the space to succeed and make this defense work. But then it comes down to one final fight, and now second wind, they just have to rely on one clean engage out of Asire and Akawa, and that's going to be the map for them.
Retzi going to go to the back, Akawa down immediately, pick off on the Ezire. And again, this is what Skyfox is going to have to do. They're going to have to control the pace and get these early pickoffs.
Yes, and Retzi, we've talked about him several times already. He really knows how to navigate and use this Widowmaker to its highest potential. So it's going to be hard for a second wind to navigate around this Widowmaker, but there is a lot of flanking potential on this map, around the wall, of course, around the entire point. But not with the infra side up, CP. Not with the infra side up. Then you can't flank. That makes it impossible.
Not when it's too late that he's seen everything. And also the thing that's a little bit hard here too is that normally Summer can be a little bit more aggressive towards a Widow, but this is a very easy spot for a Summer to get up to. Where, yeah, you can, but you invest so much that, oh, Winston just got drilled. Shot after shot. Gonna take him down early. And Skyfoxes, again, firm control based around this Widow.
Yes, and this is where you really show how good of a dive team you are, in my opinion, because you're playing around the Widowmaker. You can't just walk up to the Widowmaker. You can't just go through main and expect not to get headshot. Retzi is going to hit those headshots if you just stand in line of sight. And so you have to utilize these flanks. But again, second wind, they're just walking through main, and I'm pretty worried. They can make this work, but it's risky. If Retzi just hits a shot, that can negate the entire push.
Retzi is looking for that shot once more. Second win, they are reestablished here. Ezire has the blade in reserve, waiting for his opportunity. It's slow going here because of all the respect that they have to show the Widow on the other side. Infrasight up again, even limiting further how deep it can go. You see Moopy with the nano boost just looking for a pick off or at least pressure here. But now Ultimate's starting to come up for second win. This is where they would look to turn the tables. And now we'll see just what they do.
Self-destruct coming in, not getting value. Saucy with the EMP though, and the Nano Blade. They're going all in. They have to win this.
He was able to get him, able to get the Widow towards the very back. Retzi didn't have an option there. 3 pickoffs here for second win. Self-destruct from the defense, gonna try and buy a little bit of time, but it's likely all for naught here. Second win, they've done enough here in this fight. The pickoffs have gone in their favor. And now, is there any miracle set up here for the defense? Snow activates Transcends, but can't get to the point in time. That's gonna be second win, taking Dorado. So we are all evened up here, 1-1.
We are all evened up, and I have to give some... I don't know if I want to give them some credit because they just press Q and use their ultimates effectively. That's just what you have to do, right? It comes down to one fight, you save up the EMP, you save up the Nano Blade, and then you're good to go. If they don't get any value from those ultimates in that position, that's the map, in my opinion. Then Red Sea is just going to pop off for another minute, and Skyfox is going to run away with the series. But instead, Desire with the Nano Blade gets some good value, and second win ties it up 1-1.
Well, I think it's also a testament as to why first point holds are so rare, right? Where the idea of holding back a team time and time again, where the reality is that they are going to get a point where they're so advantageous, or they're in an advantageous position in the game, whether it be an alt position or otherwise, at some point, it was very difficult because they hit a point there where, look, dealing with Nano Blade is one of the hardest things to do in the game. And Retzi, even with him being really good in terms of getting pickoffs for a wide variety of time there, you just hit a point where, oh, you didn't immediately headshot someone. Guess what? They're going to go in, they're going to invest their resources, and it put Retzi in a very difficult spot. And I would think it's worth noting here that the defense of the Skyfoxes didn't even play bad there. Under normal circumstances, that would have been a perfectly fine hold on point A. The problem is that their offense just didn't do anything, so good wasn't good enough.
Yes, and Nano Blade is a lot better this patch as well. It's been improved on as Ana can heal with his Nano as well, with her Nano. So that means that Moopy on the main tank on the Winston, I mentioned earlier in the day that the Winston's duties should be to shut down the Genji, prevent him from getting any space at all. But with Nano healing these days, that means that regardless of how much damage and harassment you deal to that Winston, or to that Genji, sorry, he's still just going to get healed up, and that Nano Blade is going to pay dividends.
Well, it's an interesting shift in like how good Nano Boost has been, because it's almost a situation where you get punished for good focus, where you invest a lot of resources to, hey, we're going to eliminate this guy. Here's really good focus fire. We're putting all our resources into taking this person out. And then suddenly they're healed back up to full, and it almost as if you've baited yourself for that entire fight. So it's a big shift in dynamics. And it's not just on the Genji, right? We've even seen that in Rhine battles where there's times where being super aggressive as a Reinhardt doesn't always work out, right? Well, now you have two things like, oh, you've charged in. What is this ride doing? This ride's an idiot. Oh my God, he's nanoed. He's back up to full. We're dead. Like, that is an actual dynamic right now in Overwatch.
I'm a fan, personally, of that change. You know, if I do a dumb decision, you know, my Ana can save me. They don't have to worry about me, and I get flamed less. So I'm perfectly fine with that change. On my end, of course. I mean, how does it impact the game? I can't tell, but it's good for me because I like to overextend.
Well, you get plausible deniability where you're just like, oh, I went that aggro because I wanted to bait them and get the nano boost. It definitely wasn't a misjudgment. It was actually, the fault was entirely on our Ana for not recognizing this. I had the big brain here. And this is actually all valid argumentation. So you've actually just reduced your responsibility as a player and enabled yourself to live the stereotypical fraggy dream.
Exactly. So therefore, I can blame my team, and it's not my fault. And my Ana should apply the nano boost a bit faster, maybe, if I happen to die. So great change. Love it.
Ana, we've buffed you, but now we've made people blame you more. Please enjoy. But we're here in the King's Row, and this is a map we thought we'd be seeing every series, and so far just seeing it as a tiebreaker. And we thought we might be seeing a lot of goats here, but we also know that we could see Sombra Doom. And Sombra Doom appears to be the flavor of pain that the Skyfox is going to be looking to dish out. And, oh man, I feel bad for looking at King here. That's how you throw up on your keyboard, whatever he's doing right
now. I am observing the statue, so I cannot see what he's doing right now. But he is flying around on a Doomfist, I can tell you that much. And he's going to punch walls and people this game if they want to succeed. So looking forward to see if King can get value.
King is a great name. I mean, he's using a 1 in it, so it's kind of old school.
But, hey, it's Tekken, right?
Yeah. It's Tekken. It's also, of course, the strongest hero in the One Punch Man universe. Don't tell me otherwise.
Weebs.
You can't explain. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I not tell you about the weebness that you're gonna get in any cast? But King gets hacked and immediately taken down. Maybe not the strongest after all. And that's a nice opening for second win.
He suddenly got punched by Akawa right there as he got hacked by Saucy, and that's going to set up this push really for second win. They have some time now, and they need to capitalize off this pick.
eSire in trouble, but gets Moopy, gets out, not picked off in the least. Good judgment being shown here by second win. The Skyfoxes getting grounded on all levels. King might be back into the fight, but enough people have fallen here that it's not the way you want to be in terms of positioning. King's isolated down again. Fry just able to turn the corner, dive right back into him, and the front line of second wind is dominating right now.
Yep, and I wouldn't really worry too much about this Skyfox's hold, though. I'd say that first point is probably the hardest of the 3 points in making this Sombra and Doomfist work, because the range is so far. The Doomfist needs to get value when it comes down to the dives. He didn't get it that time, and he got picked off early. So King, not having the best first point, but going into second point, I think he'll have a lot more opportunity to get his rocket punch to really do work.
Look, if you want to meme about Doomfist a little bit, the meme is that, oh, he just dives in, gets a pick off, and then dies. It's really bad when you dive in and you don't get any pick off at all. Exactly. That's really the anti-dream.
Yeah, but he could be the savior here because we're looking at a Nano Blade coming out from Sire and Haku, and if King can get a good rocket punch onto that Genji, that could turn the tide of this fight.
Well, we'll see if he can be the world's strongest man once more. eSire, though, wants no part of that. Going to be a bit of an atomic samurai here. Nano boost out, moving on in. Doesn't bring out the blade. Waits a little bit for the Transcendence to burn off a little bit of time. And with the Nano blade, gets picked off. But the distraction alone still might be enough as Second Wind is able to move forward and get what they're looking for. They invested a lot, but they've gone a lot.
Yeah, they invested a lot of ultimates. Skyfoxes just recognized that they had so many ultimates up. They had a hard time, Skyfoxes, setting up that fight because they recognized that the EMP was online, the Nano Blade was up as well, and so the positioning gets rough. You know, when you have that many ultimates to play around, it gets rough to set up your fight. But that means that in this fight, Retz is going to have the advantage with his EMP, and we're looking at Skyfoxes potentially with a good fight here.
He's weak straight in, drops the EMP at own personal peril. Zombs lays in the self-destruct. Again, it's that EMP self-destruct connection that teams have gotten so good at, and it saves the second point here for the Skyfoxes.
Oh, absolutely, and this is the issue with investing so much earlier on point B. Second Wind not really having any opportunity whatsoever to win that fight because they used the EMP and the Nano Blade in the fight earlier. So now they're looking to sort of reset, get their ultimate economy back to capitalize and secure this point. But Skyfoxes, excuse me, with the positional advantage, they're going to be able to go first. But King goes down.
King out of the fight immediately. Second Wind right now. It's 5-on-5. You got Karkar holding on to the barrier, waiting for the chance to drop it. It's very scattered, though, back and forth. And with disruption coming in from Moopy, it's just not something that Second Wind can invest as much into. And it's good defense coming in here, and Moopy buying the space needed.
Exactly. So even despite that King goes down on the Doomfist, they still managed to win that fight, and that's crucial. But this time, it's taken so long for Second Wind to actually build these ultimates. But they're going to have the EMP and the Nano Blade up, as well as a sound barrier. So this should be the fight. They finally secure point B.
See just how it works. King right now is holding in the back. You'd love to get an early pick off to just throw all the calculations on who's going to win out the window. Dives on back. He's going to Meteor Strike early. Gets a punch on the Ana. Gets the early pick up and gets the Meteor Strike off. Not going to be able to get EMP'd out of this. Going back the other way. Looking for anything. Finds eSire. Mid-Dragon Blade. Fist-beating sword. And King getting some long-awaited redemption there.
And that's just Skyfoxes outplaying Second Wind in my opinion, because they recognize that Second Wind, they have the EMP up, they have the Nano Blade up. This is going to be the fight that Second Wind really wants to fight and secure point B. But instead, Skyfoxes, they go on the aggression, they take initiation first, using that Transcendence from Snow. They get the picks required and they disrupt enough to the point where Second Wind doesn't get any value whatsoever from this Nano Blade. And now they're in a tough spot. They do have the EMP, but on a point like King's Row, there's a lot of hiding. And so they might not get all 5 or 6 members.
Well, the hiding is a good point. They're just going to use the EMP to bop the Winston, get some early value off of it, get the man advantage, get rid of someone in the frontliner, but it's still winnable for the defense. Defense is going to drop the barrier. They think this is a fight they can win. They punish eSire, who did not have the protection he needed, and now it's a little bit more even. Pride, with the self-destruct, though, makes plenty of room for Second Wind, and now the defense is on the back foot. King in hot pursuit, just backing up the other way. But if he can just buy a little bit more time, it's going to be fine. He has the Meteor Strike back up, and second wind starting to lose a bit of momentum here. But King not going to get anything off the Meteor Strike. Punished. But you look at the Primal Rage. Moopy built it up again.
They're buying so much time here, Skyfoxes, though. They are very spread out. They're not getting any picks, but they're buying so much time. So maybe they can build this Transcendence with Snow coming back into the fight. And actually, they have an opportunity to win this fight. The Nanoblade is going to be up for second wind with Desire and Haku, but that can be negated.
Yeah, eSire, he's had a real tough time where he's been getting picked off early in these fights, unable to get the initiation that he's really looking for. I don't think a Dragon Blade coming in from him is really a sure thing. We see the next fight getting in progress here. You don't want to let the D-Mech happen. Zom's just barely able to get out of dodge there, and that's big for the Skyfoxes because it lets Snow save the Transcendence, and King, he's down.
Exactly, and this is going to be such a hard fight now. The EMP comes out, the Nanoblade comes out. Snow's Transcendence actually doing a lot of work, and Skyfoxes are staying alive. Some goes down. And there comes the EMP from Red.
The problem is just too much power, even keeping people alive. There's just nowhere to go in the middle of it as the offense just dives on in. Second wind working with an enormous advantage here. And Moopy, though, he's still going to go in, still going to try and delay. Super low. I don't know if this is going to work, but hey, why not take the shot? You miss all the shots you don't take, but this time it is going to be second wind getting second point. But Reinforcements, look at all the time that's been bought off the clock.
Yeah, great defense coming out of Skyfoxes, and they had to struggle a bit. King went down a lot of the fight very early, so they were playing with 5 men a lot of the time, but with great skill they managed to put up a good defense. And going at the point C, I think you're feeling very confident. They have the sound barrier and the Transcendence coming up. They can make use of it.
And they're being real aggressive with the barrier. They drop the beat and they drop on in. eSire punished early on again, and there's absolutely no chill in the Skyfoxes attack here. Just absolutely being aggressive on the defense, you know. Best defense, good offense.
Yes, and that's what you have to do with the Sombra and Doomfist composition, right? You have to get a good hack off, capitalize with the Doomfist and get some picks, and that's what Skyfoxes are doing right now. So, really good defense coming out of Skyfoxes.
King still been secure with the Doomfist, and early Transcendence coming out here from Snow. That's just going to lead the way again. A super aggressive dive coming up to Transcendence, but they don't get what they're looking for. Saucy going to respond. The EMP on the way out sets up the blade from eSire, takes down 2. Good patience for the offense here, and eSire with some sorely needed redemption. The EMP, the Dragon Blade connection, does its job.
Yes, and again, a lot of ultimates invested. Use the Nanoblade, use the EMP as well as, well, not quite the Diva ultimate. But again, I think at this point in the game, you just want any push whatsoever to make sure it's a decent push at the end of the day. And they do just that. They might not be able to finish out. They have a Primal Rage up. Let's see if Akawa can get any back.
Zoms opens up the self-destruct, and it still gets 2! Didn't need the EMP to set it up at all. He judges the situation in second wind. Well, you know what? I'm not sure there's a third wind, because it probably needed here, as there's just too many people falling. Akawa tries to buy a little bit of time, but it doesn't matter. Zoms blew up 2 of your people in the back. It's over. The hold is going to happen here on third, and that is quite good for defense. Kings Row, a map that teams often complete, so you got to feel good about that as you go into the next round.
Oh, absolutely. And it looked very crisp overall. They take initiation, they go very aggressive, just like they did on Hollywood with the GOATS composition, and it's really paying dividends. In that scenario, I do think that despite it being an overtime second win, they have to push up, hold the spawn doors, and make it hard for Skyfoxes to really contest the card. But instead, they let Skyfoxes out, Soms throws out the self-destruct, finds 2 pick, whereas Asire was caught in that self-destruct, and that just nullifies the entire dive coming out from second wind and makes it so hard for the offense to really secure and complete King's Row. So I want to see second wind step up the aggression a bit more, try to contest Skyfoxes and not just let Skyfoxes run the show in many ways, because as it seems right now, second wind, they're just capitalizing off the overextensions of King and the very aggressive play coming out, but they're not really taking initiations themselves, and in this day and age, that's what you have to do.
So I want to kind of delve a little bit deeper into what I would probably call the Poco Bomb phenomenon, right? Which is that Diva's getting really big self-destructs at times, unassisted. How excusable is that for a team where obviously if you get EMP'd, okay, you're probably going to get blown up, but that was a raw self-destruct by Zoms. How much credit do you give the Zoms, and how much credit do you, or not so much credit do you give to the other side and say they should have been able to dodge it?
Well, it depends on the situation. In that scenario, I do think that second wind can play around the Diva self-destruct. I think they're too focused on the fact that it is overtime, and they're too worried about stepping off the card or making sure their tanks die. And so Soms can play with that doubt a bit and be a bit more aggressive with his Steve ultimate, and he gets value from that. They're going to roll out with Goats this time, so no Sombra Doomfist, but Moopy is going to have a hard time finding Flicks here.
Why Sombra Doomfist when you can just roll onto the point and go full Goats? Akawa gets super low, so does Fried, and yet both still alive, although Akawa chased on down, so defense here already struggling a little bit. Skyfoxes, again, they just roll onto the point, looking for the D-Mech on the Fried here. Discord Orb making him a lot more vulnerable. But as this is going around, we're seeing just the poke around the outskirts working out quite well for second win.
Yeah, and you can make an argument for the fact that the offense still got a take almost close down to. But again, this is what the defense has to do with this composition. They cannot fight man-to-man with a Ghost composition when you're playing the Genji, when you're playing the Sombra. And so you have to poke around, find an opening that you can capitalize on. It comes down a lot to Karkar on this Ana, in my opinion. He needs to hit big biotic grenades, and on the other side, Sombs, he needs to deny those biotic grenades.
Oh, so nice! The EMP into the double dash reset. That was clean with a capital C coming in from second wind. They did lose Izar towards the very end. That was actually probably a little bit avoidable, so I'll downgrade it to a lowercase, but still not bad ult economy coming in from the defense.
Yes, and this is what this composition gives you, right? You cannot fight man-to-man versus a Ghost composition, but when you get the ultimates rolling, that's where you really shine. Asire is certainly going to be back for this fight, and a Nano Blade is more than enough to shut down this Ghost composition.
Well, here's the Nano, there's the Blade. Izar gonna moving on in. You have the Transcendo out, and nice Earth Shatter from Moopy. They're dealing with the Nano Blade quite well. Izar is out of there, doesn't get what he's looking for, and now the full force of this Goats composition gonna be coming to bear here on point A. There's no Genji the poke around. They're gonna get the Diva D-Mech, and once you lose a few people here, Reinforce, it's so hard to fight back against Goats.
Oh, absolutely. You can make sure that Haku gets a lot of damage done with the Zenyatta, with the Discord Orbs. It's so efficient versus these tanks. But you really need Asire on the Genji to capitalize on that damage and on that poke. But with him out of the picture, it makes it so hard for second win to deal with this Goats composition. And instead, Asire's just going to swap away from the Genji. They can't buy him that time on the Genji to build a blade. They're going to opt for a bit more aggressive composition, a bit more all-in with Asire on the Doomfist instead.
Skyfox is now setting their own pace. Of course, they would love to win the series right now. Definitely don't want to take a trip to the lower bracket already. And oh boy, we got Retzi here. The sneaky Graviton being set up. He's in the pub. He's having a drink. And he's just plotting, planning how to set up a Graviton trap here. He goes right out and they just use it on the Winston. When you really want to deal with the scientist, when you just reject science and you go on in, and yeah, nice healing on Akawa, able to stay alive, so the Graviton doesn't quite get what he's looking for. Izire gets a lot of value in the back, and that is a hole coming out from the defense.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want from second wind. Not necessarily making plays of their own, but certainly capitalizing of Som's pretty poor Graviton, you have to say. He caught Akawa, and Haku actually used the Transcendence, so I guess you got some kind of value. Second winds were forced to use the Transcendence, Akawa used the Primal Rage, so you trade 2 ultimates for 1. But again, this is going to make it even harder for Skyfoxes to use this Ghost composition without the Graviton.
Oh, not going to be clean here. Zombs cannot let the self-destruct loose here just yet. King, though, down early, so Skyfox is working at that 5v6 disadvantage. See Zombs chasing down the Summer, almost gets a pick off. Pressure is still coming in, but you get the nano boost in from the defense. It's on the Doomfist. Izire going to take to the skies. Where's he going to drop? Zombs says, I don't care. I'm dropping the self-destruct. What am I going to get? Nothing. Meanwhile, Izire found Moopy, and the defense right now, durable, buying a lot of time here.
Yeah, but it'd be great to use the rally, so Skyfoxes with a lot of armor on them, and Akawa's down, so it's going to be hard to initiate and win this fight. Som's going to secure the fight using that Graviton Surge, and it's looking like it comes down to one final fight on point B for Skyfoxes. Can they secure this point?
Snow with some serious cleanup there towards the end. It might have been set by Retzi, and tanks might have been in it, but hey, you get 4 killing blows. Give a little bit of credit to the zone.
Oh, absolutely, but I think they could have used that Graviton Surge for this upcoming fight. Saucy is going to have the EMP up, and you don't really have anything going for yourself, so Saucy has free roam. Just gotta make sure you contest this card long enough to Saucy find a good EMP.
Saucy just walks on up, drops EMP, and says, come on in, boys. They're hacked. They can't defend themselves, at least not super effectively. They're going to invest in Transcend, so they need a little bit more power. And as they move in, they deal with King. Saucy playing the damage from the outhand side, and that's going to be a hold here for second wind. And this is getting a little bit scary here for the Skyfoxes here. Reinforce, only a minute 30 left.
Only a minute 30 left. Retzi is going to swap to the McCree, and they're going to favor this Brigitte and McCree composition. I do have my doubts though, because this is a really good Sombra and Doomfist map. So King on this Brigitte, he's going to get punched. I'll tell you that much. And you're going to have the self-destruct to initiate with, as well as the Primal Rage to make space for Desire. So this is looking good for second win, in my opinion.
Snow going to open up the Transcends for Skyfox. Skyfox is trying to take the initiative here early on. Izar going to go to the skies here on the Doomfist, looking to drop on down. Was looking for King. Moopy, though, able to deal with Izar. Izar does not get what he's looking for. And Skyfoxes, this is going to give them the pickoffs they need to move forward and start really getting in on the apex of the second point. Now, Saucy still being a threat. The defense still trends by a little bit of time, but it's just too much to salvage here.
Yeah, Hawk uses the Transcendence though, and with Desire coming in, they can find a lot of picks. Huge Biotic Grenade actually, hits 4. Snow is not going to go down. Can they get Moopy? Yes, they can. And this looks good for a second win.
Ooh. Yeah, the Bionade, as you mentioned, helping to set that up, and Skyfoxes, they're looking so good, and yet the final part there for the defense buys time, and the Skyfox is now 18 seconds away from losing the series.
They do have a sound barrier up, but that might be worn away, but Saucy's EMP. It all comes down to the positioning of Felty in this fight, in my opinion. It's going to be hard for Skyfoxes, but they do have a good opportunity if they can use their ult correctly.
Saucy's moving in. The sound barrier, though, connects right after the MP. It's not time to save Moopy, but it's enough to give the Skyfoxes a chance. It's fine. Oh, no, they don't get a payload.
Oh,
that's it.
boy.
Second win takes the series. Ooh, okay. Wow. That is an ending and then some. I want to give credit to Lucio there. I mean, you were able to get a nice barrier. Just, you gotta touch the payload. What a change of pace in the series, too.
Yeah. It's so hard as well, because I gave a lot of credit to Skyfoxes. I thought they played really well. But then those small mistakes that second win just managed to capitalize on just won them this series overall. It was so dominant on Hollywood. But second win, clawing back into it with huge plays coming out from Saucy and Desire. I'm really impressed by the second win team, honestly.
Yeah, I would say to me, when I take a look at it, I think Izar was sort of, you roll a dice and, 3 of them are 6s and 3 of them are 1s. So it's like, a good amount you're going to get really good plays, and then the other half is going to be like, I don't know what he's doing. So it was kind of hit or miss with him, to say the least. Whereas you take a look at Saucy, he was reliable all series long, especially once he got onto situations where he could really make the Sombra shine. It was just really fantastic for him overall, where he was able to get good hack after good hack, build up EMPs reliably, and more importantly, the team was playing around the EMPs in such a good fashion that it just looked really good, and it didn't feel like Skyfoxes had a great answer to it.
Oh, absolutely. It looked like Skyfoxes weren't having the greatest of time playing the Sombra Doomfist off themselves, so instead they opted for a lot of Ghost composition, and then in the end we saw them swap over to the McCree and Brigitte composition, so I wouldn't say those compositions are optimal in terms of peak potential this specific meta. I do think that the Sombra and Doomfist composition that second wind ran has a lot more value to it. But in the end, Skyfoxes, they just couldn't put it off. King was getting caught a lot early, and that was honestly their downfall this series, I think.
Well, guys, we do have some replays. It might be an online tournament, but that doesn't mean we can't have a little bit of production value. And you take a look here, Moopy, just nice little charge, gets the nano, drops the hammer. Love to see it happen.
Yeah, and this is what I talk about, right? They're pushing so forward, they're being so explosive with this Reinhardt. And that just really secured Hollywood for them, where they're showing aggression and making it hard for second wind. And that just was the foundation that they secured Hollywood on. And then again, Dorado, not the best map. Retzi got some nice picks, but it came down to second wind playing dive so much better.
And you gotta love it. EMP, followed up by a self-destruct. Zoms, of course, had very good self-destructs over the course of the series. And sometimes Doomfist is gonna drop on in and say hello.
Well,
and they say.
He gets out pretty quickly as well, so hello and goodbye simultaneously.
Meanwhile, Izar, of course, that was a nice replay coming in there. We didn't quite catch all of it, but when you get the early EMP, he didn't even have to use Blade in that last fight. He just 2 dashes, gets 3 pick. I was like, wait, I could save this. That's actually one of the best feelings in the world as a DPS player.
Absolutely, and he just needs to capitalize of something that his team sets up, whether it's the Biotic Grenade or a huge pick coming out as well, or a good hack from his Sombra, and so it just comes down to setting up that Genji correctly, and they certainly did so.
All right, guys. Well, that, of course, was our second match of the day, but we got a big one coming up for you next. It's going to be Phase 2, led by the coaching talents of Coach Michael, where hopefully he hasn't been leaking strategies to the opposing team. It wouldn't make much sense. It's going to be taking on the new NRG team, where they've made some adjustments here. They're going to have to adapt minus Rascal, as Rascal has gone full on to Overwatch League.
Yes, but they have replaced him with Kevster, the Swede. So I'm looking out for that guy. Not biased, of course.
No bias whatsoever.
Nope, never.
I mean, now that you've mentioned this, I actually didn't know where Kevster hailed from, but look, man, I don't know what Sweden's doing. They're just creating the super soldier army of great young Overwatch players. You got Sharp, you got Kevster. It's just like the new DPS generation is upon us. But
yep.
Guys, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have that matchup and more.